Is it about time we all started taking Mizuno a little bit more seriously when it comes to drivers? Let's do it, and let's do it now. Hi everyone, James Robinson here guys. First things first, you know what? I'm not even going to welcome you all to the channel today. We're going to get straight into this review of the brand new Mizuno STZ driver. Welcome, because I don't want to be rude. But today we're talking about what Mizuno claim is one of the stablest drivers they've ever released. And there's no better person to test that than I can hit it anywhere on there. So let's check for this stability. So the story behind this is carbon. Carbon, 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 and did I mention carbon? So you'll see as I sit this driver down, I think it looks impeccable. I think it looks, dare I say, like one of the most subdued yet snazzy drivers I think I've ever seen. I absolutely love that carbon effect on the crown. I absolutely love the shelf appeal of it. So you see on the bottom we have this ultra balanced carbon composite toe and heel segment here, and that's allowed Mizuno to stick more weight at the back and make it as stable as they say, whilst maintaining a low spin element for the player that's looking to hit those absolute bombs. Now I must say, first impressions are, it sounds very, very good. It sounds a little bit more high-pitched than the other carbon composite drivers you see, the Callaways, the TaylorMades, the Cobras, but then it also looks, I think it looks absolutely wonderful. Now, there are two of these drivers. Well, there's the STZ and there's also the STX, which is a little bit more forgiving, a little bit more draw bias. As you can see, that weight slides down towards the heel a little bit, and then the toe is made up more of that carbon composite. And looking down at the two drivers, the STX looks a little bit more bulbous, a little bit bigger, a little bit rounder, whereas the STZ suits my eye a little bit more. It's more that kind of defined player's shape. Personal opinion, but we're going to cover more STX in another video with potentially Foxy and Sprigsy when we're allowed to mix again. And I'm going to focus more on this STZ because this is potentially one of the drivers that would find itself in a fitting session with me in the not too distant future, potentially. That's why I'm being a little bit selfish, I know, but there is that. There's also loads of other technology in here which we are going to cover. Oh, that sounded good. A little bit high actually, that one, interestingly. Straight though, and that could be down to this toe heel carbon stability. It also features, I always get this wrong, a forged BETA SAT 2041 Ti face. A forged better titanium something. I have to get it on there because otherwise I just don't break. Otherwise I just get it totally wrong and I end up sounding like an idiot. So that's one of the only things I ever have to read off a spec sheet. I can never get components like that right. We also still have the wave technology, which is this little indent behind the face here. That's to allow for more ball speed on those off-center hits, and together with the stability that we talked about with the carbon, is it about time we start putting a bit more respect on Mizuno's name when it comes to drivers? I mean, the ST190 was good, the ST200 was very good, and the STZ, I'll tell you soon, but first impressions, good. And you just know that this is going to come in about $100, maybe $150 cheaper than some of the bigger names. And if the performance is there, then there's nothing really to say why you wouldn't game it, is there? It does feel good. It feels good, it sounds good. And these are actually fairly, for me, these are actually fairly straight-ish. Now, I have been practicing a little bit because the other reviews have been, well, almost embarrassing because I haven't been swinging that well. But looking down at this head, I do really like how it's almost got, dare I say, a shade of an M3 and M4 look in there with the carbon at the back, because Mizuno always had that carbon effect on top, but never to that extent. Like, that's shiny as well, isn't it? Hi. That is a real good looking driver head in there. High again, but straight. That one was like really, really toey actually, but once again, it's in the fairway. I seem to have been doing a lot of talking in this review, so give me a moment. I'm gonna hit some and start giving you more opinions. And it's always an interesting one when we test Mizuno drivers, because we know that they make fantastic irons. We know that they actually make good wedges, they make good hybrids, and generally the putters have been good recently. So why don't we use them? Now, I do know that Mizuno have a different marketing campaign or a different idea about marketing than the other big brands. They don't pay people a fortune. They don't do the tailor-made, the Callaway route, maybe even the other brands' route as well. Again, high. One thing I've noticed is, this is 9.5 degree, and the head I have here is 9.5 degree. You can adjust that between 4 degrees, so you've even got the adjustment element in there. One thing that is noticeable is there's no movable weights in there, there's no tracks, there's no plug-out weights, and funny how quite a few brands have gone down that road this year, all for the weight-saving element. Oh, that felt amazing. That felt so good. Spinning quite high again, but I definitely think we've got a contender for best sounding driver of 2021. Let's hit a couple more and let's see if it's a contender for longest driver of 2021, because that's why you're all watching. I know. Right, I've hit a load of shots, and I mean a load of shots, primarily because it feels and sounds really nice. A couple of bad ones in there, but actually I'm not too dissatisfied with the array. Let's hit one more and then let's see how this Mizuno STZ performs. Peeling a bit. That is a load of shots hit with Mizuno STZ driver. Is it about time we started putting it a bit higher up in our thoughts? Let's find out. So dispersion, and again this is probably a reflection more on me than the club, only one bad one which I'm particularly really pleased with because it's been, it's not been great. So actually really happy with the trajectories on those, really easy to launch this driver I have noticed. A couple that went a little bit too high, they were really high spinny and they will have brought the distances down, but all in all, quite happy with those. What about the numbers? Numbers for the Mizuno STZ, around about where I would expect, 273 carry, 278 total, club speed around 106.5, ball speed just shy of 160, and a spin of 2,888, which for me, maybe is a touch on the high side. It's up towards that kind of 3,000, but then there are people out there who will tell you that the optimum spin number is around 2.8 anyway. So what do I think? I think it performs as well as anything I've tested. I definitely think I'm swinging a little bit better today, so that definitely helps. I really enjoyed the sound of it. I really enjoyed the feel of it. I think the looks, if you're already a Mizuno driver fan, it will really appeal to you. And potentially, if you enjoyed the look of the old M3, the old, not necessarily the M1 because it had the white on it, but the old kind of tailor-made clubs, I think this might potentially lure you in as well. It does, there's some really cool graphics on that actually, just paying a bit more attention to that now, and it does look pretty cool. Technology-wise, there's plenty in there for what you're paying for, and I'm going to hit another shot actually. And I think this pretty much sums up what I feel about this driver, in that usually in tests and reviews I'll hit 10, 12, I'll try and save the old back, but I have really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed that little bit of stability. Oh, and I would finish on that, wouldn't I? That's the worst one we've hit all day. Probably should have saved the back. Guys, thank you ever so much for watching. Really hope you have enjoyed that. If you have, make sure you do smash that subscribe button below. Is it time we start to put a little bit more respect on the Mizuno driver family? Yeah. I don't think it's going to get the same respect as maybe the irons, but that's more a kind of historical, legendary thing, isn't it, the Mizuno irons? But I do think the last couple of years have been a step in the right direction for Mizuno drivers. Guys, thank you so much once again. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button, like button if you've enjoyed that, and hit that subscribe button as well. I think it's about time I went for a lie down. It's a long time since I've hit that many golf shots. Apart from that, check out the new channel if you want to as well. The new channel, if you like my videos and you want to see more that isn't necessarily golf related, we've set up a new channel with Laura and the dog and we're really enjoying that. So check that out in this circle here. And now I am going to go because I'm late. Bye.